Peace, family. Peace. Chicago people and folks. Chicago people and folks nation. Is back in the building. And what do we have here? We have the truth about the ADOS movement. The TRUTH. That means no lies. So that means you cannot tell any lies if you plan on telling the truth. And today what we are going to do is prove that your leader in your particular movement about the ADOS or any black African American movement are liars, misinformed liars. And you should not lead if you don't know the truth, because you could be leading people into falsehood. And that's what I believe the maker of this video right here is doing intentionally with his ability to use words. For instance, the guy shows some light-skinned people similar to Kamala Harris that we know is not black. We know Kamala Harris is not black. In fact, with proof, her father and mother has nothing to do with black or ADOS. So we have the truth about the ADOS from another person who is similar to Kamala Harris, the same type of pedigree. So we have a person named Everybody Hates Angel, who is basically the same stock as Kamala Harris, trying to tell you about an ADOS or a black or anything black or Afro. So he might have a little tad bit up in him or some prior ancestry, but he is of mixed ancestry regardless of what he wants to claim. Because some of these guys up in Puerto Rico and the islands, they want to be so-called black so bad that they defend this black, not knowing that they are defending slavery and denationalization. So we have this Everybody Hates Angel guy who believes that he can tell us about us in North America. So that by itself is so disrespectful. I could never tell somebody in Puerto Rico who they are, because Puerto Ricans are free nationals to a certain degree, where they can marry Japanese, they can marry Chinese, they can marry Europeans, and when the offspring come out, I can't sit up here and say that offspring is not going to claim the nationality to which its mother and father was. So basically that's what Everybody Hates Angel is doing. He is telling us in Alabama and Chicago, Mississippi, Florida, New York, Virginia, California, Montana, Missouri, Idaho, Washington, even parts of Canada. He is telling us that we are black and we are African, no matter what we say. So right now, I am going to prove that he is a fraud. I am going to prove that he is an agent. And look at the message that I left him. And then I'm gonna show you the video to prove what I'm about to prove. Those people you showed at 452 are not black. None of them. Their skin tone or their nationality is not black. Ah, okay, hold on. That's what edit is for. Let's straighten that out. Look at me, correcting on the fly. It's not black. Plus, Venezuela is named after Phoenician of Phoenicia. Brazil has rich history and heritage with proof showing they are not African slaves, and I have the proof to debunk this video. You are saying Mulattoes got here through slavery, then you are showing images of indigenous Americans. So when people see that these people, when people see these people, they automatically think slave and black. Understand what I'm about to teach you in this video. Follow me what I'm saying. It might take me a few times to repeat myself, but it is very important that we catch on to what this guy Everybody Hates Angel was doing and other agent provocateurs. Okay, some of these people are contracting as agents, and some of them are actually with the federal government, you know, to spread disinformation. Because if you didn't know, it is legal to spread propaganda on the internet. It is totally legal and lawful, and President Barack Obama, he passed a bill where propaganda is legal. And this is nothing but propaganda, and I'm about to prove it. So he is calling people black, but at the same time showing you indigenous people. So when you see a certain type of indigenous person or people, you automatically assume they are slaves. Do you see what I'm saying? So the spell of his words that he is casting is now broken. And as we can see most plainly, his attempts to denationalize and use propaganda for mind control, his time is up. I told him you are an agent for the federal government, and what you are doing is against the international law. You cannot say at no time that you were not made aware of this. So I made him aware of what he was doing. Now, look what he's doing, people.
Same goes for the term Afro-Latino. which simply means a person from Latin America of significant African descent, aka a Black Latino. Brazil has the largest Black population outside of Africa. How did these Black people get to Brazil? You guessed it, through slavery. So yes, Black Brazilians are also descendants of enslaved Africans. And for my brothers and sisters who believe that we were already in Americas before slavery and we are indigenous to the Americas, I've also got some videos in the description for you guys also. Enjoy.
Okay, we gonna enjoy. I watched those videos, Agent, and that's how I figured it out. Let's get a good look one more time, my peeps. So you see these people that he's showing looks just like Mexicans and Central Americans before they were raped. These people look exactly like those people that are called Mexicans, Latin, Quechua speaking. They look like them right before they were raped. Look at her face. You see Mexicans that look just like this and Latin people because this is who they were raping. These ain't no slaves. Now listen.
Descendants of enslaved Africans. And for my brothers and sisters who believe that
he called them descendants of Africans no matter what. Like, we got to hear that one more time. One more good time, because I have to emphasize this because I'm about to shut him down, and I'm going to be able to move in on the rest of the agents and all of the naysayers so I can get you the information that will destroy white supremacy. Yes. In fact, I have the keys to that. I know exactly how to do it. I have the information to prove exactly who the niggas is, where the niggas come from, what their language and origins is, who the leadership was that abandoned them. I have all of that information in writing, signed and sealed, with pictures. Yes, I do. And I will be letting all that information out slowly but surely. It is nowhere around this information. Everybody is a joke. Nobody will get around the truth. And today, one of your leaders is about to fall. Pay attention to his words.
Black Latino. Brazil has the largest Black population outside of Africa. How did these Black people get to Brazil? You guessed it, through slavery. So yes, Black Brazilians are also descendants of enslaved Africans. And for my brother...
Uh-oh. You heard what he said. This is your leader. You're subscribed to him. You send him donations. I did a video on Dan Calloway. I did a video on Sarah Sutensetti, Young Pharaoh, Louis Farrakhan, some heavy hitters. Okay? I did a video on some heavy hitters, and none of the heavy hitters refuted anything I said or even acknowledged it, but you did. So I'm about to take him down as well because he's a liar. This dude is a straight lying con artist. I've been addressed him in videos way in the past, and he even commented back, and I have those comments screenshotted just like I screenshotted Dan Calloway's. So let's take him down with the truth. So I got a good face card with the people out here with the Moorish Americans and the indigenous community with proof. If you need to, check my receipts and my resume. I'm not a goofball. It is real. The dreams will be ended. The illusions will be destroyed. Starting with this cat. Well, I ain't going to say starting with this cat. When it comes to the ADOS movement, he will be the first to fall. Let me show you why. You heard from his own mouth that the Brazilians are, in fact, descendants of slaves, and that is how they got to America. So, and he said it's the truth, right? The brother said it's the truth. So I'm about to shut him down, and in this video is also going to be the part one. Or I wasn't going to say the part one. I'm going to say the prerequisite to proving that all black people are criminals and are invaders. All blacks. I have proofs that black people invaded America with proof. I got proof. Anybody that claims to be black or African, I have undisputable proof. I have genetic proof, scientific, documented proof that you are a criminal invader, and you might want to be careful calling yourself black. I am going to release that information. I am going to release the information that proves black is a criminal. And he must have a probation officer. He must have an authority figure over him to watch his every move. Yep, I'm going to prove it. And I'm going to prove to you that these black YouTubers are nothing but agents. All the black YouTubers that want to keep you black are agents. We have Aborigine people that are Islamic. We have indigenous people that do not call themselves black on no level. We have people that live in the Indian Ocean that call themselves Mai'at. They don't call themselves black. You are under a spell I'm about to prove it to you. I'm about to prove that everyone hates Angels fans is under a spell, just like young Pharaoh's fans. People, I'm about to prove it right now. Let me chop down Angel. Let me chop down the Angel of Death. This semi-albino mixed up dude all up in our business. I don't need you in our business. We don't need Western propaganda, Westernized, Darwinistic, Pan-African transatlantic slave storytellers telling us anything. You feel what I'm saying? He's trying to keep most of our people divided from us. So for instance, if we in my family house, right? If we in my family house arguing, and you my family, and we got him, everybody else hates Angel, who, got some mixed blood or something, and he's trying to tell you, no, don't listen to me. No, nigga, you need to argue with me. You need to talk to me, my people, my family. You don't need to take everybody hates Angel side, because he's not our family in Illinois and in Mississippi. He is not our relative. I don't care how nappy his hair is. That could actually be an African slave's relative. You understand what I'm saying? And just because he got kinky hair don't mean that he's an American relative. He can easily be a relative from over in India or Africa or one of those countries that love Christianity so much and mix it in and to make him look like that. Just because they look like that don't mean all of them people is our people. So we don't need that dude telling us nothing. Now let's look at the sincere fiction of Goree Island, Africa's best known slave trade memorial. This is the best known, and several of us have already proven that this is fake. Michelle Obama was down here crying, falling out and fainting, and it is proven that the Goree Island slave memorial is fake. The slave dungeon castle is one of the many castles left behind by the Moorish Phoenicians, the people who was building these tall buildings all over the world. And they stole them from them in America and Europe, in Australia, everywhere these so-called Moors left these buildings. They came and knocked down the forts in America and all around the world. Courtesy of Root Words one of the brothers that's researching, shout out to him, Root Word 1, he have all the proof of the buildings getting knocked down. And in America, the castles and the ones that are illegally occupied today, thanks to him. And I went on here to research the Negro Fort in Georgia, and I found out that the Marine Corps and the U.S. government knocked it down. And we have pictures of it. We also have pictures of what it looked like, the Negro Fort of America. So we have the University of Chicago historical anthropologist Francois Richard, a West Africa scholar who has studied the slave trade, has some thoughts about that disconnect between the myth and the reality of Goree. Richard emphasizes the house's value as a sort of manifestations of slavery legacy. So the story was manifested out of slavery's legacy, but is not necessarily true. It is a sincere fiction, says the scholar Francois Richard. Richard to you. So these are scholars that exist that you have to answer to, who have degrees. And also there's another, I think her name is Anna Lucia, the other scholar. Let's look up her name. I'll find it before we get out of here. 1770s, when the gum trade, a point of entry. Her name is Anna Lucia Arrejao. Anna Lucia Arrejao, she also proved that the slave trade in the Goree Island is fake. So let's get back to Everybody Hates Angel. Okay, let's get to him. I'm just going to expose his lies, because you heard it from his own mouth that the Brazilian people got here through the descendants of slavery. Now let's look at the Dry Tortugas. This was also built by the same people that built Fort Negro. So you see the type of architecture and brick masonry that they was able to accomplish on the islands down by Cuba and Puerto Rico. This is the Moors, so-called Moors, that they are hiding and what we are exposing in our videos. And this is Dry Tortugas. There's another one called the Moorish Fort, the Moor Fort, and we have the Negro Fort, and they look like this. And they went around blowing these places up. I'm just showing you this for quick note before I get to the Brazilians. To prove your leader wrong, we already got on Jabari Osazi, we got on Dane Calloway, Sarasu, and Seti Farrakhan, Pharaoh. It is only fair that we get on top of Everybody Hates Angel, because you see the same skin complexion of Aaliyah, and we see the same complexion of Selena, Mexico, and Virginia. So we are having people that's looking like Aaliyah being called black and being shunned for not claiming their indigenous roots by Everybody Hates Angel. People like him is out here intentionally confusing you. And I'm on top of him. I'm going to pay close attention to him because the myth of blackness and behind the myth of blackness and why proclaiming your nationality is so important. If you look at the black square or the object above, it is a black box in 2 dimensions. Now, simply look at your skin and then look at this box again. Notice the difference. Most of you reading this will have a dark brown to light brown olive tone skin shade. If your skin does not match this box, then it is obvious that your skin is not black. So such a term, black of skin, proves that you intentionally and unwillingly blind yourself to who you truly are as a human being. The process of getting our people to accept this term black as a descriptive was an act of European psychology to detach you from your own self. So the person who you really is, you don't even claim that. You claim to be something you are not. So you are brainwashing yourself, and with the help of the likes of Everybody Hates Angel. Now let me prove it to you. Let me prove it to you with the Brazil first before I go in on other information, because we already know we didn't went in on enough information that we certified. You know what I'm saying? We got the Moors, we got the indigenous people out here, all uniting for this information to destroy the lies. So, okay, let's get to the Brazil. As you can see, we have archaeological finds on real history, and we have skeletal remains dating back 2,000 years, 10,000 to 6,000 years, 8,000 years, 11,000 years, 8,000 years. So we have archaeological finds in America with proof. And okay. And we also have the Spanish so-called Latin civilization of America. So the social classes in Spanish colonies were the aristocratic people that were ruling Europe before the Moors was chased out of Europe. So these so-called Moors was right here ruling in America. As we can see, the Peninsulares, Iberian, Spanish aristocrats. So if you take away the Spanish, because we understand that Spanish is a misnomer for Andalusian. Andalusian was a people who was ruling the so-called Granada of Spain. The Granada Islands is called the Grenada Islands of America. These Grenada people and Andalusia, Alabama people were united selling their goods in Europe and having a wee old time. And when they were chased out, they were renamed Spanish, just like you were renamed black and Negro and color. And we have second on the pyramid, we have Criollos or Creole, descendants of the Peninsulares. So the Creoles would be the dark-skinned people who speak Creole to this day. They speak the Creole language very well in Haiti and Louisiana and in the south parts of America. The Creoles are the dark-skinned people who made it with the Moors. All right. So a mestizo would be a Indian and a Caucasian. So this is how we identify a mestizo. All right. And we have a mulatto would be a Caucasian and a African. So a mestizo would be those brown-looking people, and the mulatto would be the lighter people who still look African. So if you see the ones that's looking African with their features still, but with obvious mixed ancestry, those are the African ones. The mestizos, the brown ones with the pointy noses, would be more the Indians. And we have the Native American Indians at the bottom, and we have the African slaves. So this is according to their system, caste system, in Spanish America. And it is totally separate from what the so-called Everybody Hates Angel and other black African people is teaching. They don't teach you that in the Spanish class, the dark-skinned people was number one. So this is one proof that black people was not slaves. Now, if we look down at the bottom, it says African slaves. African slaves. All right? African slaves is at the bottom. Why is African slaves at the bottom? It's because the conquistadors was Africans. And when the conquistadors raided Belize, they raided Quechua, so-called Quechua or Mara. They raided Alabama. All of these raids, these so-called reconquistas, was Africans, and when these Africans was captured, they was made to be slaves, and I also have proof of that, and I can show you the proof in this video, which is going to also debunk the ADOS, because I'm going to prove to you the American descendants of slaves is a lie, because you cannot be an American descendant of anybody and be a slave. The slaves was the Africans, and they were enslaved by the so-called Native Americans when they ran up in here trying to invade. Those people were enslaved. That is a fact. And there was also Native Americans that sided with Great Britain. Those Native Americans that sided with Great Britain was enslaved and imprisoned, and they were put at the bottom of the caste system. Their children was put at the bottom of the caste system. Do you understand? And in the social classes in the Spanish colonies, the Moorish aristocrats, that is the businessmen, and the Creole-speaking people, the darker people down in Belize and everywhere else in the South and Central America are Creoles, brown, dark-skinned people. They look like you and I. Everyone claims to be Creole, but it is not a people. Creole is a language. It is a Latin language that is a slang language. And it is remastered. So let's get out of here. Hold on. Okay. Okay. Alright, let's get back to business. Okay, we have Everybody Hates Angel saying that the Brazilian people came to America via slavery from Africa. And we have the American descendants of slaves claiming to be descendants of slavery demanding reparations. I am going to continue to show you where they fail at and where they fail to tell the truth at. You're going to FAIL, fail. And I'm going to show you where you fail to tell the truth. You're going to fail in life, lying. Okay. So we have Everybody Hates Angel, and we have the ADOS claiming reparations. I don't believe they'll get reparations because anyone with African blood is a criminal. African mercenaries were sent to America via the conquistadors to slaughter indigenous people and Moors, Moorish Americans, Muslims, and so-called Israelites. They were sent to slaughter these Phoenician people, any remnants of the Phoenicians. I have all the proof. I have the written proof, the pictorial proof, the signature proof, the archaeological proof. It is no way around it. Everyone else is lying at this point. Okay, so we have the Brazilians right here. As we can see, de Bremorimbo or Desfile de Domingo de Carnaval. This is the Carnaval in Brazil, showing you that they were celebrating Carnival without slavery because slavery had never happened to them. And as you can see, why would they be fresh off the boats of slavery in the 1700s already doing carnival? Why would they be doing carnival if slavery was so brutal? Do you understand what I'm saying? If slavery was so brutal in Brazil, could you please explain to me why a woman has a violinist? It looked like he has some type of musical device in his hand, and she has two strong men carrying her. And this building structure looks like it's made of stonework, so it goes to show you they weren't primitive. They weren't primitive at all, that they had some money. And as you can see, her outfit on seems that she is prestigious or royal or noble. She is probably the wife of a nobleman. All right. And we can also see in the facial features of the Brazilian so-called people, it looks sort of Negro. You can see his facial features, and these are the Amazons. These are the people of Brazil. And according to Jean-Baptiste Dubré, or Debre, according to Jean-Baptiste, he disagrees. Jean-Baptiste, he disagrees with Everybody Hates Angel. Okay, let's look at Jean. Let's read this from Jean Baptiste. Jean Baptiste Debray was a French painter who produced many valuable lithographs depicting the people of Brazil. Debray studied at the French Academy of Fine Arts, a pupil of the great Jacques Louis David, to whom he was related. He accompanied David to Rome in the 1780s. His debut was at the Salon des Beaux-Arts of 1798, where he got the second prize. He traveled to Brazil in March 1816 as a member of the so-called French Artistic Mission, a group of Bonapartist French artists and artisans bound to creating in Rio de Janeiro an arts and crafts lyceum. Under the auspices of King de João VI and the Conde de Barca, which later became the Academia Imperial de Belas Artes. Okay. Under Emperor Dom Pedro. So we dealing with some heavy stuff right here. So he's down here as a painter painting these people and with source, and basically he's showing you the people of Brazil. So basically we have maybe what we have here, what we can say here is out of this picture, what we could have is we could have slavery going on. No society is perfect. But what I'm saying is this is possibly the slave masters. I'm not gonna sit up there and deny slavery. I'm not gonna be a simpleton. But if you can see the crown on his head with the staff in his hand, you see the turban with feathers on this brother standing up, okay, with a cloak around his neck. And you see sitting down, holding the king's gown, is someone with a turban and feather. You see someone to the left with a horn in his mouth, who is obviously a so-called Negro. So it is one or the other. These are African invaders. These are African invaders, Moorish particularly, or these are the original Brazilians. Do you understand what I'm saying now? And this is according to John Baptiste. All right, so we have to look at it like that. We have to sit up there and say, okay, the Brazilians was a free people, and they did have some slaves, just like any society would have slaves. Some societies would have criminals, illegal land squatters, and the government can lock them up just because they brown skinned it. Okay, that don't mean that we bad or you bad because you had to lock some people up and enslave them back then. So what I'm saying is, according to Everyone Hates Angel, if we see a picture like this, right? Black people are slaves. Blacks are slaves, right? But if we see pictures like this in Brazil, according to a Brazil painter, they are still slaves. So maybe these people who dress up in this kingly attire and queenly attire are just retarded slaves, you know, who just, you know, decorate themselves just because. You understand what I'm saying? Because if you look at the picture on 452 mark of Everybody Hates Angel picture, the Brazilians dressed in royal garbs. They dressed them up real fancy for the carnival celebration. And as we can see, the brothers and sisters celebrating carnival in the 1700s. So this is back in the 1700s, and they have the carnival basically with the, you know, the musicians, you know, the fancy wear. And I can guarantee you they didn't get off of boats and 100 years later start celebrating carnival. Okay, we see them working together with their feathers on and their turbans and fezzes and hats. I can quite assure you, if slavery was as brutal as they teach you, that the European would not let them wear feathers on their head. So Brazilian history is different than North American history and heritage, as we can see. And we can see the brothers and sisters looking like this. You know, we can see the brothers and sisters looking like this. And we see Everyone Hates Angel was a liar. Okay. Unfortunately. Okay, let's do it right here. Okay, we have the British Museum and their collection of the emblem of America. I want to get the straight rundown though. I don't want to. Okay, let's say Africa. Let's get up out of here. I don't got time to play with this. Okay, I don't even want to play with Great Britain at all. Time for them games. Okay. Okay, this is emblem of America. And I wish I could have got to the site that I found the other time. I don't like this. Let me go find it. I'll find it. Cause this video was worth it. It's definitely worth the wait. Okay. Emblem of America. I might have found it on my phone. That's what it was. Okay. Okay, we see what's going on here. So these are the original so-called Aztecs. Okay, we see what's going on. Okay, we even had our own police forces. Let's get up here. Okay, we see the emblem of America. We see what they looking like with the feathers on. Okay, look at this. So we have the dude who said, you know what I'm saying? Basically, he said, everyone hates Angel. Basically, he was like, you know, he have a whole YouTube video for African Americans ain't African. Okay, but we see the artifacts. We see the pictorial proof. We have the pictorial proof, right? Right? And I showed you the Brazil proof of the free people in Brazil. What more do you need? You need more, don't you? Okay. And then you want to know how this affects ADOS. You want to know how this affects ADOS, don't you? Well, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you exactly how this affects ADOS and why ADOS is fake. Now let's do a quick rundown on Emblem of America to see the pictorial proof of from their pen, from their authors, okay, from the people that work for them. Let's show you from their pen. Let's show you from their sources on what the Americans look like. And are you going to continue? Are you going to continue to listen to Everyone Hates Angel? Did you know Dom Pedro looked just like this? The same Dom Pedro that I just showed you? Okay. You see Don up top? You see Don? You see Don? These are the Dons. These were the original drug dealers, the drug lords of the Incas. Yes? That's correct. This is a real painting. But guess what? You still gonna believe Everybody Hates Angel, ain't you? This is 1750 in North America. These are their paintings. This is their proof. If I see something like this, I'm going to take it in consideration and research it. I'm not going to let somebody continue to lie to me. You understand? We have the proof. And we also have the word of mouth of our grandparents. So at this point, Everybody Hates Angel is an agent. Is an agent. There's no way around it. Because I'm going to prove it through the wordplay. Basically, he show you an indigenous group of people that you don't know is indigenous. Just like the CIA agent he is. And then he say, black people got here through slavery. So, you understand what I'm saying? They got here through slavery. Then he show you Native American, indigenous people. then you believe women like this are slaves. It's mind control. It's M.C.I, mind control engineering. I'm on top of it. That's why I had to do this video. So this is a double-decker video here. This is the double-decker. This is original painting depicts what is believed to be the climax of the first Carib War on St. Vincent Island. St. Vincent, St. Croix, St. Thomas, the Grenada Islands. None of these people are black slaves. It is a lie. Mosquito Kingdom is not slaves. I got proof. I'm about to show you that. Who the mosquito is. The mosquitas, I'm going to show you, is nothing but the Cordoba Spanish so-called Andalusian, which is Andalusian Moors. I'm going to show you mosquito is the Moors. Right now, they are in America. They are free. They look just like you and I. If we have free people who look like you and I, that is recognized as free people whenever being slaves, that could mean that someone is lying. Someone is telling a lie, my people. A bald-faced lie. Okay, look at these Maya glyphs. Look at these Maya paintings of the dreadlocks. It is just too much proof we have at this point. That's why so many of us is all the way through with Pan-Africanism and the so-called black leaders. This is what the ancestors left. This is what the ancestors left behind as proof, and we have compiled this proof, and it is no way around it. These are actual paintings, and we want this debunked. We want it addressed. We want this addressed at this point. You cannot be on the internet lying at this point. You cannot mention anything Moor or Moorish, Negro. You cannot mention colored nothing, anything about us. And if we catch you lying, thinking you're not going to address it, Everybody Hates Angel has to address this video. Just like Cyrus Sutton said and the rest of them. And then if you don't address it, that means you were lying from the get-go. You have to address it. You're a liar. So basically what we are saying is Everybody Hates Angel is a liar. He just lied and said that your people got here as descendants of slaves from Africa. We are showing you paintings inside of so-called pyramids in Central America of people that are not slaves. This is in Canada, the Chippewa. These are the artifacts of dark-skinned people who was kidnapped, coerced, and destroyed and beat down and denationalized. Okay. So we see the American pic looking like the American women. Okay, we have the pictorial proof, all right, of the artistry from back in the day. And we see people that look like this right now today getting called African. And that's what this is all about. It is nothing but mind control engineering. It is nothing but propaganda. Let me look it up. Propaganda is legal. Propaganda is legal in America. The U.S. Information and Educational Exchange Act of 1948, popularly called the Smith-Munn Act, is the basic legislative authorization for propaganda activities conducted by the U.S. Department of State, sometimes called public diplomacy. Okay, so the Smith-Munn Act allows for propaganda on the YouTube and the informational highway. They are allowed to tell lies. Even government agencies are allowed to tell lies. That's right. They can tell you lies. They can hire any of these people to tell you a lie. Even when the truth is in your face, they can still tell a lie and they will not go to jail. So we have these murals and these wall paintings left in Central America and these temples being destroyed as you speak. Building highways, symbolically building highways through Belize, just like they did in countries across North America. They build highways through our towns. And as you can see, Patagonia at the end of Brasilia. Patagonia was once the home to Europeans. Those people in Patagonia was imprisoned in a colonial prison, and they broke up out of Patagonia and fled to Europe. It was a continental federal prisoner similar to Gitmo in Cuba, where they housed European albino criminals. Those Patagonians got away and went to Europe to plot on taking over the whole world. This war and this fight can be found in literature and writing in ancient societies and also with the elders of our community, but you will not get this story believing you are a African slave. We have this information. We are showing you this information today. You know goddamn well that the Mayans or the so-called Aztecs, none of them people was looking like Mongoloid or whatever you call those people. They were not a mixed type. Mixteca. They had hair like you and I. Look at these brothers with the dreads. You can't deny them. You see the blood dripping on their head for trying the kings. And as you can see, everybody hates Angel is a liar. It's a lie. It's no way around it. It is no begging your way back into this. A liar is a enemy to us because he does us no good. What can a liar do for us at this point besides get money? Keep stealing money from our community? Don't you know everybody hates Angel is a mulatto? If he claims to be an African and mixed with Native American ancestry, he is a mulatto. So it is no way around him in his lying ass propaganda. You know, you cannot ask for forgiveness, mulatto man. It is a rap. So yeah, he's going to debunk these pictures, but what he is not going to debunk is the proof and the genetics and the architecture. So let's get to the nitty gritty of who the African is to end this video, because we can do many more, parts to this. Let me get on top of his name. Okay. So, we have Manasseh, son of Joseph. Mashir was the forefather of the Gileadites through biblical. And these people were the Phoenicians. We have the proof of the Phoenicians coming over here building civilization. And America being named by them. Okay? We have the proof. So I could read this to you all the way down. But okay. Let's see. Let me see where I want to rule. Okay. Mashir is a so-called Hebrew word for the land of the north, which is, I don't agree, but it's supposed to also mean the capital place or the principal capital place. And actually, it is the order of God where all the order takes place. That is what the name America really means. But according to Hebrew scholars, Hamashiri is the correct way to pronounce America, named by the Armoricans. The Armoricans are so-called people of Europe who inhabited Britain. And the people who was running that claimed that it was named after a powerful Jewish prince who was living in Europe before he was expelled. And just like in the ancient times, his people came back to America. So this is more proof, historical proof, that so-called Phoenicians was in America. Now let's show you Venezuela. See the Moorish connection, because what the oil boom going on down here in these states, what this is about is hiding the Moors. You understand what I'm saying? We have Morocco, Venezuela, right? A beautiful place, so-called Morocco, Venezuela. And we have this Moorish paradise, Moorish National Park in Venezuela. And Venezuela means Phoenicia. It's Venezia. It's the same people. And these are these so-called Phoenicians that I just showed you of Mashir, the so-called ruling elite of Europe at the time. And Venezia name meaning is a Jewish name. It is a Jewish name, but it's actually a Moorish Phoenician, but they know how to steal, and it is a water Moorish town in Italy called Venice, where they use their boats. Same in America, we use our boats, so they are still a Moorish community. Same down here in South America, and agents are paid to hide this stuff. And as you can see with proof, all right, what the Moors in America and Africa was deep. This is why they want to call you African, because they see that the Moors had people over here with the leadership, just like Europe or Britain or France or anybody else, but have their leaders in other countries all over the world. But just because we have similarities to Moors in Africa don't mean that we are from Africa is all we saying. We saying we global, a globally dominant people, and always have been like that. And you can't name us, and no one can name us. No one can tell our story for us. Now let's move on up out of here. Let's move up out of here. We have the fact that Brazil, that Brazil is not the destination for the descendants of African slaves. That is a lie. Now, what I have to do is, right quick, is prove that the African descendants are criminals. That's what I have to do. The Africans that were sent over, that were so-called slaves, that everybody hates Angel was claiming, those Africans were recruits to destroy the Anasazi. You see the cliff dwellings in New Mexico. This is via and courtesy of the Moorish architecture in America, the so-called Moorish or Moor that they are hiding. I don't care who disagree. I don't give a damn how uncomfortable you feel. I'm going to keep telling this truth because it is a reason they are fighting and hiding the Moors. And if you can see the smoke in the sky and the bullets aimed at the Moors city or town, you can see the pyramid to the right, showing you that the Moors was building pyramids. And as you can see down here in America, they had stone buildings. And as you see the red, white, and green flag, showing you the Moorish flag. It's red, white, and green. So they had brick buildings in America, and they are getting attacked right in America. And they are called the Pueblos. The Pueblos people are a mixture of Latin and Arabic people. And Arabic is nothing but the Moorish. And this is Teos Pueblos. And they have the oldest culture in America. Still standing culture in America. There were some cultures older. But the still standing culture is Teos Pueblos. And their culture is the same as the Moorish Moroccan. And we have the proof, my people. The Pueblos Indians situated in the southwestern United States are one of the oldest cultures in the nation. Their name is Spanish for the stone masonry village dweller. Okay, so they dwelled in these stone structures. And they Four Corners region of Colorado, New Mexico, Utah, and Arizona is where they dwelled. So they had a lot of land. And after the Mexican secession, all of their land was took. And as you can see, the many wars fought to get these people out of here. They have been doing some fighting ever since 1845. And then you see the large stone building. You see, they go to show you that they were not primitive and they were not slaves. They were called Moors and Mora. So everybody hates Angel is a Latin-speaking person, a Spanish-speaking person, and he should know these things. But he is ignorant or he is telling a lie on purpose. Either or. And this video was solely focused on him and ADOS, because before I close out this video, I am going to prove why ADOS is not getting ADOS is not getting, African descendants of slaves is not getting any reparations. If anything, African descendants of slaves is getting arrested. That's right, they going straight to jail. And I'm going to prove it right here in this video. And as you can see, in the Milwaukee Museum, this is north of Chicago, 40 minutes from Chicago. In the Milwaukee Museum, you see exactly what the indigenous Americans look like. Right? That's right. So it looked like somebody got some explaining to do. That's right. And as you can see, we have the turban-wearing Muslims in America, in so-called New York area, with proof. So at this point, we know everybody hates Angel is an agent. And he just want to be so black that he's going to keep lying. We have the Lucayans, pronounced Lucayan, were the original inhabitants of Bahamas before the arrival of European colonists. That means somebody was there already. They were a branch of the Taínos who inhabited most of the Caribbean islands at the time. The Lucayans were the first inhabitants of the Americas encountered by Christopher Columbus. Okay, Columbus thought the Lucayans resembled the Guanche of the Canary Islands also. The Canary Islands also was in Africa. The Canary Islands is in Africa, ain't they? That's right. So we have the Lucayans being greeted, and we have Tuscaloosa Black Warrior. And he was a paramount chief in the suzerains of many territories, not just one. And he was a giant man, and he actually exists. And that is one of my relatives up out Alabama. This is the Bahamas. Remember, I just showed you the Lucayans, right? This is a street scene in Nassau where they want you to believe it was so much slavery going on. But what they fail to realize is we were going to do our research to prove them to be a lie. That's right. I'm going to prove that you some liars. Because, you know, that's what I do. Okay, so we have women like this right now today. This is in Hawaii. We have women like this in Central America, North America, getting called Negro, Black, and Colored. That's what this is all about, and African American. And, oh yeah, let me see this. I've been looking for this. The Coneheads. I got some awesome information on this. The Coneheads and the Egyptians. I'm going to crush the game on that. I can't wait to get to that. Okay. Let's do a rundown on this before I get to the information that is going to destroy the ADOS as well as this cat. Okay, we have in Atlanta, Georgia, there are two distinct races of Negroes in the South. That one race is peaceful and docile and law-abiding, and that 98% of all the Negro criminals come from the other race. Was a startling statement by an Atlanta criminologist and Judge L.S. Brown's branch of the Superior Court yesterday. He set up equally startling theories to support the first one. He calls one race the red gum Negro, which he says come from Guinea and South Africa, and is peaceable. The other race he calls the black and blue gum Negro, which he says come from Northern Africa and has Mohammedan blood. So I read that to go to show you that the Europeans who had came in contact with Africans was comparing people in America to how they discern peaceful people and the mighty Mohammedan people of North Africa. So he was able to discern people in America was similar to Moors. You know, and Mohammedans who didn't play the white supremacy game. Mohammedans is not going to play. This is Chief Tuscaloosa, the Black Warrior of Alabama, of Utah, Alabama, where my people from. And we have our own story to tell. But if you believe we are African slaves, like everybody hates Angel wants you to believe, then ancestors like this who's sitting around, story not going to get told. They're going to be just blotted out of history because of everybody hates Angel and his followers. They want you to forget who you really was. And I'm not going to let that happen. So we about to do the quick rundown so you can see the evidence, so you can see the proof, so you won't have any proof, because I'm going to destroy everybody hates Angel and the rest of them in the next video that I make up. This is New York, and this is the king of Hawaii selling off America. Okay? So this is how they depicted you back then in the 1800s as indigenous people. I didn't already showed all of this to my following. Now I have to re-show it because we have liars who won't keep our names out their mouth. We have the king of Hawaii with a fez on. We have the Cherokee and Muskogee who are Muslims and was sent on the trail. Okay. Okay. Alright, that's it. Let's get to the facts. Another good rundown video just to remind you, because I know people will sit up there and forget. You know, they will forget the facts, and they will let these YouTube agents keep distracting them, because I honestly do want to get to white supremacy. I want to get on top of white supremacy like every day a new video. You understand what I'm saying? A new video debunking white supremacy. You feel me? This is a Sauk Indian of Illinois, and this is my family. You see, my little cousin just graduated. I done showed all this looking just like the Sauk Fox. And we know Sauk Fox in Winnebago was with Jean-Baptiste de Sable building up Chicago. Yep. So we know somebody is doing a lot of lying. A lot of lying. We have the Shorty Low, rest in peace Shorty Low, looking like the ancestors in the South. Hair wrapped up. You know, we been fighting. We never gave up. We not giving up today. We not giving up today. We got brothers like this who was captured. Now they calling him an African. As you can see, the Indians with him. You know, everybody not African. All of us not. We got people like this captured. Spot taken, money taken. Now he's an African. Which is a lie. Let me get to the top of this information, man. I'm not gonna let nobody do me. I don't really have time for entertainment, like, you know, stuff like R. Kelly and all that. I don't got time for that. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect, man, you know, to the R&B, so-called R&B legends. I don't got time for it, man. You know, I'm busting dawns with the truth right now. I'm out here busting heads, man. I'm honestly trying to end your dreams. Especially, everybody hates Angel. So we have an expedition in the Wilkes Islands and Fiji Islands off the Pacific coast of California and Washington, and we have a brother right here with a pick in his fro getting captured. So everybody hates Angel has to answer to everything that I am showing you. Everything I'm unloading on him, because he is the last of the agents that I'm taking down before I get to white supremacists. We have the Bush Negroes of Dutch Guyana, the Ajuka Afaka. The Njuka Afakas have their own written language, their own historical accounts, and they already received reparations. How did the Juka receive reparations? We should go holler at the Juka, and not everybody hates Angel. Because you know and I know who the Aborigine Indigenous is. That is not an African slave. You know it and I know it. You know it and I know. This is not an African slave. That is an Aymara woman of Bolivia. South America is too big and vast for somebody to come enslave. You can easily escape. It is no way around it. You cannot have pistols on your waist and be a slave. It is not going to happen. It's not going to happen. Happy to do this video. Happy to do the hick of the mosquito. Okay, when I show you my proof about the African blood being invader blood, I'm going to show you exactly who the Mosquito Kingdom is and how the Mosquito was in America. These exact people was in America, thriving. I got proof, written proof, and I'm about to show you it. Here goes the Mosquito. These are a free people, not a slave people. They cannot be connected with slavery. These are free Moorish people. And here is more people that we see in America getting their butts told that they are African. Look at these wild looking people, you know, who are now classified as black and Negro, which is nothing but a misnomer and disrespect. But if you can see this young man of Easter Island is brown like you and I, if he come over here, his children is going to have to be forced to be African, just like they did to these people. These people on the Malazzo Island, New Meadows, Maine. This is in Maine, looking like this with a fro in their head. Okay, if we get real investigators on this, we have been and solved this, but nobody wants to take this seriously. Okay. The Trail of Tears is where American Indians were forced off their land and had to go out west, and the trail ended in Oklahoma. Peep this, guess what happened in Oklahoma? Black Wall Street. And who was in Black Wall Street? Our people. They forced us off our own land and saw our people thriving in Tulsa. We made a new life for ourselves and was doing better than the whites. White people didn't like that, and they bombed the fuck out of us. They bombed a Native American town. This is a Shawnee prophet from Prophetstown. You don't know anything about Prophetstown. I'm going to teach you about Prophetstown. And as you can see, he looked like one of the brothers. And he is one of the brothers. He comes from the brothers, like Jirali is a prophet. I'm going to show you Prophetstown up in Indiana and Illinois area. I'm going to show you your people that was invaded. I got all of that. I got all of the facts. You know it, I know it. Okay. Let's get up out of here because I want to see something. Before I shut the video down, I want to see what I want to see about the ADOS. When I get to the ADOS, I'm going to destroy their dreams. Because you're not getting no reparations. You're probably going to go to jail. You're probably going to get shipped to Africa is what I'm going to be fighting for. And of course you are going to be saying that the Moors sold you out once again. And at this point I really don't care. I don't care if you say I sold you out because I'm telling you, I'm bringing you to justice. I'm going to show you why I'm bringing Africans to justice in America. Right here in this video. Okay, here his name. His name is Kamehameha. Kamehameha was the founder and first ruler of the Kingdom of Hawaii. And that is the brother I showed you with the Islamic fez on. Because I misspelled his name, mispronounced his name last time. I'm going to go ahead and pronounce it correctly. So I'm sorry about that to the Hawaiians. Kamehameha. Okay, let's get up out of here. That's enough of Aboriginals and Asians. Naga, we not going to Naga, indigenous North America, Naga. Let's go up in here. Okay, let's get up in here. Did we get in here? I think I was in here already. Knowing me, I've been up in here. Yup. I remember that. Let's get up out of here. White destruction, Aboriginals in Asia. We've been in there. Okay, one more. Naga more. Let's go up in here right quick. Okay. Mickey Cobras. We're going to get up on this information to disprove, just to prove that Everybody Hates Angel was a liar. There's no need in taking that guy serious at this point, calling people African slaves when he know we going for the gusto. We was on sailboats 60,000 years ago. Okay. Let's see what Clyde Winter say. I think he said something. Okay, Clyde Winter said that they arrived 100,000 years ago. So if we look at slavery, that happened 200 years ago. Clyde Winters is saying we have been here 100,000 years ago. This is Clyde Winters now. So you mean to tell me you about to sit up there and listen to Everybody Hates Angel? Or you going to listen to Clyde Winters? So if you listen to Everybody Hates Angel, you already know what that means. There's no way around your stupidity and your lunacy at this point. We're not accepting you. We are not abandoning you. We are going to arrest you or penalize you the best way we can. You understand what I'm saying? So we can't tell you how to think. But if you are being disobedient and unlawful, you don't want to be a part of civilization in our society, then we have to brand you. And as you can see, there's a town called Matamoros, and it means killer of Moors. So the conquistadors came to kill Moors. They came to conquer Moors who was ruling and to take their place. That's all they did. The Moors who was running things, they came and took their place. Took over, and this is what the Moors look like. This is exactly what the Moors look like. He had his own airplane. You see the fuel boys with the fez on. These are the Moor people they are hiding, and that's why I'm doing these videos. Because if they wasn't lying, I wouldn't have to do these videos. I wouldn't have to do none of these videos if they wasn't into lying so much. You know, about the Moors. If people would just stop talking about Moors, I wouldn't do no videos. But if you lie, I'm still going to do videos. Okay. So we have Andalusia and the Alhambra Palace in Granada. And these mosquitos, mariners, so-called people, are from America, and they spread all over the world. They come from the Pacific Ocean region, and they spread all over the world. And as you can see, Granada is the pomegranate city, and it is of historic Seville and Cordoba's exquisite mosquitas. So mosquita, that's is what they would call it, and mosquitas is an actual people, just like Moors is an actual people. And that is what I am proving. And Spanish has replaced Andalusian. So instead of saying people speak Spanish, they should be saying they speak Andalusian. Do you understand what I'm saying? You are speaking Andalusian. You are not speaking Spanish. That slang is a Andalusian slang. Okay. Okay. So we already know about the ancient ruins discovered in Guatemala throughout the jungle. Okay. We see the fighters and their dark-skinned wives in their dwellings with the gun, so-called Seminoles with fezes on. We have too many pictures and proofs. Too many pictures and proof. We see the so-called Moors musician of Morocco and musicians looking just like us, so it is easy to see why they would mistake us for Morocco people. It is easy to see this. Okay, nigger hair tobacco. Here's more proof before I end this video, and then I can go in on white supremacy. More than likely, my next several videos is going to be about white supremacy. You see the turban on, the red, white, and blue with the map. Yup. Okay, Kokia. Alright. This video is almost over with, because it ain't going to take me that long. Okay, we have already connected the Peruvians with India. We collected the Paramacans, and the so-called okay. We know the so-called Parumacan and Sarunan Moor people have a history with this fez-wearing woman who was of Phoenician descent. And you see she was into metal. They had the metal, similar to the Moors and the Islam Sultan. So these Moor people left their architecture all over, and they are with the Nagas. They come from the Nagas. I've already proved this, but they are mistakenly called Black now. Black, Negro, African, Afro. Names like that has no meaning and cannot connect you to your ancient ancestry. It cannot connect you to your ancient ancestry. You see that Grand Sheik to the right? That is Kenyu Umar Bey. That is the Grand Sheik who came to my doorstep in Chicago, Illinois, and brought me to more science 10 years ago. Look up Kenyu Umar Bey. Look up Moorish World TV. I'm heavy and deep in more science. I'm heavy deep in these streets. I'm heavy deep up in academics, period, and science and knowledge, period. So don't think this is a joke. You know. Okay. And this is the leader of the so-called GDs of Chicago, who is now deceased. And he happened to be my father. So that go to show you how really deep in the game that I am. Look at that picture. When you throw up GD, you owe that to him and my mother. But I'm not in the gang. Don't get it twisted. I'm information banging only. I'm information banging on your head. I'm not playing with you. Okay. We have the rundown. I see anything that I need to see. I'm going in. Other than that, this video about to close. Okay. We have Abraham Lincoln fighting for a Moor, proving that his clan was a Moor and not a Negro, proving to you that Negro and Black is a status. It is not a skin color, it is a status. And as you can see loud and clear, everybody hates Angel wants you to be Black, no matter what cause you fight for. Whatever cause you fight for, you are Black. You are just black, my brothers and sisters. You are Black and you are Black. You are slave. You got here through slavery. But some of you was not slaves. Some of you was fighting back. Yeah, that's right. You are not descendants of slaves. You are descendants of free people made into prisoners of war within your homeland. Never accept your oppressors' marginalizing narratives of you. They're designed to seep into your subconscious. Now let's read that again. You are not the descendants of slaves. You are the descendants of free people made into prisoners of war within our own homeland. Never accept your oppressors' marginalizing narratives of you. They're designed to seep into your subconscious. So that's why he keeps showing you Native Americans like the Brazilians, and then he will sit up there and say Black people are from Africa. So it can seep into your mind that people who look like Sarah Rector is a Black African everywhere. Look at our people attacking them with our Indian traditional garbs on. This picture is of Fort Mims massacre. This is Europeans getting massacred at Fort Mims. And as you can see, the people doing it is our people. And this is what prompted the Indian Trail of Tears. This boy was an actual mascot for the Cleveland Indians in 1925. There's no way around it. So we have the so-called Brazilians dressing like this out of sheer coincidence, according to Everybody Hates Angel. And I can see why everybody would hate Angel. That is a good name for him, because if you tell a lie, people should hate you. They should hate your guts if you tell a lie. And he is not a nigga. I don't know what he's a lying ass mulatto. Everybody Hates Angel is a lying mulatto. That is right. And I never claim to be African, and I never claim to be black. So you can say I'm mixed with whatever, but I know I ain't black and no African. And as you can see, the Grenada Islands, woman is not a slave. They was not invaded until 1980. Until 1980, they were never enslaved. And as you can see, the American Negro is the American indigenous. Okay. As you can see, Ramelia Cody is Navajo, looking like us. And we are getting written out of history. You see the Colored magazine. I have a whole video I'm doing on colored people and the colored regiments. I'm doing a video on Mechanicsville and Manistee. Manistee that I just read to y'all. I'm reading how Manistee fought in the Civil War. I'm going to be teaching that. Manistee and Tennessee. I'm going to be doing videos on Manistee and Tennessee. And Tunisia is the same as the Moorish country. Tennessee is the same as the country of Tunisia. It's the same civilization. The people in Egypt, Mizraim, and Missouri. It's the same people. Look at this pic. This is an indigenous Americans. If you ever have someone like Everybody Hates Angel, will look at a picture like this, and he will still say that they are Africans. You have to understand what we are dealing with. This is Creek Seminole College in Boley, Oklahoma. Do you see how we was building for ourselves? We didn't need nobody help. We even can get our own windows. That is windows in that school. Okay, so you see a family like this will get called Black African, brown, whatever color they want to give us in their child like Muns. And you can see we were out for nationality and birthright. We don't want a color. We don't want your color. We don't want your color. Because Aboriginals are susceptible to being brainwashed. And I want to ask you, do you know your colors, motherfucker? Do you know your motherfucking colors, Everybody Hates Angel, nigga? Do you know your colors? Colored people black. Look at this. Brown, coffee, mocha, peanut, carob, hickory, wood. Do you know your colors? Because you're calling people with these type of skin complexions black. And obviously they are not black. So we got the proof that Everybody Hates Angel was an agent. Whether he volunteered himself or they came and recruited him. Look at the brothers. You see the brothers in America. You see the information. You see the information. We not playing. So it's pretty much a wrap. The myth of blackness is exposed. The African slave trade is exposed to hide the fact that Egypt was in Ecuador. The so-called Egyptians, Mizraim people, was in Missouri, all over America. I done showed you the proof. I shouldn't have to do this video. I shouldn't have to do this video because I could be wasting my time on white supremacy. And white supremacy is so easy. It is so easy to take down. I have the information needed to take down white supremacy because you don't have to shoot a gun. You don't have to hurt a soul. All you have to do is tell the truth. And in the presence of truth, falsehood must flee. You can look that up in the Circle 7 Holy Quran. In the presence of truth, falsehood must flee. Now, we have the mestizo, we have the mulatto. We have the mestizo, we have the mulatto culture vultures. trying to tell us that we are all Africans. Ain't that right? Ain't that right? Okay, so let me end this video. This is from the islands of the Pacific Islands, people. To the right, those are the Pacific Islanders. Hold on. Yep. Okay, I forced you to watch this video and all of this information. So when they say the Olmecs are mongoloids, you be sure to show them the Olmec pic of the Olmecs with the French braids. That's right, with the cornrows. Show me some Asian mongoloid straight hairs that can get those braids like us. Show me that. Show me where in history did they ever wore those braids. So I wanted to find that nigger hunting license. Where is that at, man? Cause it's like I might don't find it. I doubt it. Dominance in genetics. Okay, it might be in this. Nah, it's in that Indigenous Americans. I know it is. So, why would we go back to Africa when we built America with pictorial proof? We laid down the railroad tracks. So we got just as much as claim to America, more than anyone. Okay, let's read this. This is it right here. So I showed you the Missouri Compromise, right? Let's look it up. Okay, now I don't want to lose this. Let me explain this first. Let's look at this. This is a legit nigger hunting license found in some old white guy's house. So they carried a license to kill niggers in Missouri where slavery didn't happen. The Missouri Compromise and after the Mexican Cession, they basically wanted to bring slavery. Now this was before the Mexican Secession. I take that back. This is in 1819. They had a conference to legalize slavery in Missouri. Right? It was banned. You cannot have slaves in Missouri, and we had our people thriving in Missouri. So what that goes to show you is our people was there, and they had something called nigger hunting license. That means you are not going to kill another man's property. Do you understand what I'm telling you? Slave masters or slave owners is not going to go to Africa and buy some slaves just so somebody can get a nigger hunting license and kill their people. And kill their property. You are losing money if somebody just kill your property. One sec. Okay, as you can see with proof, during the so-called Willie Lynch Jim Crow era, we have the nigger hunting license. And if you can use common sense, you can see that nobody is going to allow the killing and hunting of their property. They will lose value. They will lose money. So they were hunting indigenous people. They had a right to kill indigenous people with proof. With the Missouri Compromise Act, where they were trying to bring slavery into Missouri. Okay. So let me read you this. I'm going to read you some of my heritage that you need to know about. For some 12,000 years prior to the early 1800s, the entire area throughout the Warrior Mountains was inhabited, controlled, and ruled by our Aboriginal ancestors. Through the early European explorations of DeSoto in 1540, other adventurous expeditions, military campaigns, and encroachments by early settlers, our native people were weakened by the ravages of disease and wars that wiped out entire villages and towns. The tragic stage for the decimation of our Warrior Mountain Indian people was finally set after some 275 years of fighting these diseases and wars brought about by the greed of the European settlers. The high town or ridge path followed the east-west continental divide through the Warrior Mountains and was occupied homelands of the Chickasaws and Cherokees around the 1750. Long before their occupation, the Tennessee Valley was claimed as hunting territory for both tribes. The southern drainages of the divide were occupied by our Creek ancestors when DeSoto marched his army through Alabama in 1540. It was the lands in the heart of the Warrior Mountains that the Creek people had called home for hundreds of years. Finally, our native people began to crumble from the European onslaught and pressure. So for like 200 straight years, these people waged wars on us until finally the 1812 Creek War. When the Creek War came, as you can see, one of my relatives, Chelsea Dunn right here, is an Aboriginal American. And Dunn is a similar title like Moore or like Ill or Bay. You have Dunn, Ills, and Bay. These are particular titles that mean something, like Cochran is a farm class person. Tillman. Okay, so we have the Creek Indian removal. And did you know all the Indians did not die of disease? They will sit up there and tell you that a woman who looked like this with gold skin, copper skin, is black. Do you see what that says? Black American? Do you see this little baby right here? They call people like this black. Do you understand what I'm saying? They call people like this black. And it is obvious that they are not black. It is a brainwash method to drain you, to make you retarded. This is Walter Plecker. And he is the person who started using black and color and Negro to white you out, to write you out. To write you out of history and heritage. And this is in the Anasazi. This is in the Anasazi cliff dwellings. This is in the Anasazi cliff dwellings in the Four Corners. Do you see how brown they wrote themselves? This is how they left. This is their artwork that they left, and they are very brown. So we don't have white Indians or light-skinned Indians back then. We have a bunch of liars. We have people who want to take this information and say that, you know, you are African. Look at this brother, Miguel E. Raymond, looking like Mike Tyson in Mexico. So we on top of the game. And 2 studies have already found ties between Native Americans and Australia. They have a connection for trade with Australians and ancient Americans, is what the scientists have unveiled. So we pretty much have them where we want them, culturally, informationally, and archaeology, anthropology. We have all the paintings, the writings, from the tobacco trade, the cocaine trade, the marijuana trade, before the so-called Spanish conquest. We have the facts. We have Mosquito. We have Morea Tahitian. We have the Louisiana Creole French connection to the Haitians. And we have French Polynesian. This is what the French Polynesians will look like with the Amerifro. And these are the thousands and thousands of islands right by California. Is where these people live. Okay, here it comes. This is what I'm looking for. More anthropological proof. And as you can see, the Chile Indian at the bottom, the Yucatan Indian, and the Fujian Indian. And look up at the Tartar. See, I have a pic of what a Tartar would look like. And a Tartar is a dark skin. It's a dark skin, man. I just wanted to show that Tartar pic. And this is up out of a book. So I just wanted to show that quick Tartar pic before I go ahead on the ADOS. Okay. Let me go and get rid of the ADOS right quick. Okay, let's get rid of ADOS. Practical amalgamation. Okay. Okay, let's get on the ADOS here. In this video, because I'm going to do the whole video on the ADOS and the African slaves. Let's go find this, reconstruct. Let's go find this information. Emblem of America. Rosary, blacks are the first. Okay. Armed Africans. Where did I just see that at? Armed Africans in America. African captives. Okay, here we go. Okay. No. Let's go back. Let's go get this information. I just seen that. The African captives. Let's go on and destroy the ADOS, because I'm going to do a whole video destroying ADOS and African slaves, period. I'm going to probably spend about 3 hours on that video. I'm just opening the door. I'm opening the door. So you can see that the that the African slaves are nothing but invaders who was captured by the indigenous Americans and enslaved. And there's nothing wrong with that, because the conquistadors invaded. Counterfactual. The real history of Thanksgiving. Captured conquistadors. 5 civilized tribes. Okay, the nomadic. Let's start right here. I'm going to go to the timeline next. When I get to the timeline, I'm going to prove what I need to prove. Cabeza de Vaca, the nomadic conquistador, was a murderous man, something like De Soto. But unfortunately, they like to paint him white. This is a black man. This is an African. This is an African conqueror. In his blood, if you claim to be African, his blood is your blood. The Africans came to rape. The Africans came to kill. Okay? So, okay. The genetic legacy. I don't want that. I want the African captives. Once I get that, I will be happy. Okay. African captives. European scenic road of captivity. Okay, here it is. Okay. A conquistador who wrote a captivity narrative, Cabeza de Vacas, Naufragios, is a captivity narrative by Carmen Gomez Galisteo. In 1527, Spanish soldier Alvar Nunes Cabeza de Vaca was appointed treasurer to the ill-fated expedition of Panfilo de Narvaez to Florida. So they came to Florida and other places in this region, spreading their evil and their disease. So he was expected to submit to Emperor Charles V and do as he said. And he came over here with his defense to destroy and to bring Christianity to the so-called Brutish Beast. The Spanish narrative thus portrayed the Indians as brutish beasts, so that the native population of the New World, without serious objections from Europe, be more easily exploited, along with whatever wealth they possess. So they wanted you to think they were beasts and mean people in America, so they hired these people and gave them propaganda to destroy. This is a conquistador. You see the conquistador, and he has a narrative of being captured. Some of these people was captured and never freed. Some of them was put to death, just like you can see the European U.S. Army putting people to death. They put people to death in Gitmo prison for war crimes. They get put to death too. So the indigenous Americans over here put Africans in captivity. They capture Africans. Okay. Okay. Here we go. Let's do the timeline. 1492, when Columbus got here. Okay. When we have in May 1513, Ponce de Leon encountered Calusa Indians while exploring the Gulf Coast of Florida near Charlotte Harbor. In a fight with the Calusa, De Leon captured 4 warriors. So they're kidnapping people while they're invading, and Tuscaloosa is our man's from Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So he had people on the Florida shores protecting them, probably with primitive weaponry at this point. But as you can see, Tuscaloosa was not just in Alabama, he was in Florida too. And on July 8th, 1524, the first kidnapping of America took place. Florentine explorers kidnapped an Indian child to bring to France. So they are kidnapping our people. And this is a timeline of everything they did. They have a timeline in their writing from their pen. So they are enslaving the Indians. And on November 15, Don Juan Onate declared possession of the Anasazi land. in what is now North Arizona. It is given to the name Hopi now, and Hopi never existed. But the Spanish crown took the Anasazi cliff dwelling. Why would they come up there just to take the cliff dwellings after we proved that the Moors built it? Because they are conquering the Andalusians. They are conquering the Moors, so they came to the cliff dwellings of the Hopi land to take Black Mesa Verde. Okay. So we have a smallpox epidemic that decimated the Native American population of New England. And Virginia Deputy Governor George Yearly and a group of men killed 20 to 40 Chickahominy Indians. It was under Yearly's leadership that friendly relations between the Chickahominy and the colony ended. So they had friendly ties to the Chickahominy, but they wound up fighting them. And we have Chickahominy on the YouTube doing videos right now today, looking like you and I. One of the first treaties between colonists and Native Americans is signed as the Plymouth Pilgrims enact a peace pact with the Wampanoag tribe with the aid of Squanto. Squanto was an English-speaking Native American who helped the English plant food and let him know what food was good to eat in the woods. We already know who the Wampanoag is, the so-called federations of Fana, the Fana nations. So-called Chief Wushu them. Okay. So we know who the Pequot is, and the Pequot, the colony of Massachusetts, were the first slaves, but as they would not endure the yoke, they were sent to the Bermudas in exchange for Negroes, in the hope that the latter would bear slavery more patiently. So the Pequots were captured as well and sent down to the Caribbeans. So when we have Caribbean people talking about they African slaves, they are actually Pequots. These brown skin looking Caribbeans that look like us, we might see some people from the islands, and we might be like, man, you look just like one of my relatives. Where you from in the island? All the time, these are East Coast people from America. King Philip's War erupts in 1675 in New England. We know King Philip Metacom. We know exactly who these is. Bacon rebellions, tobacco planters led by Nathan Bacon, asked for and are denied permission to attack the Susquehannock Indians, who have been conducting raids on colonists. So Bacon rebellions are tobacco planters who wanted to kill Indians, and they were denied the right to do that. And we have King William's War. Now let's get to this. We have the Yamasee. Okay, we have a... Okay. All right. 1709, the slave market was erected at the foot of Wall Street. And here, Negroes and Indians, men and women and children were daily declared the property of the highest cash bidder. So the Yamasee tribe attacks and kills several hundred Carolina set. So they would not be calling them a tribe of Yamasee if they was not from America. South Carolina settlers and their Cherokee allies attack and defeat the Yamasee. Jesuit explorer Pierre-François Xavier de Charlevoix recorded effeminacy and widespread homosexuality and lesbianism among the Indian tribes in what is now Louisiana. So, at the most prominent tribes in the area at the time were the Iroquois and Illinois. So, we have our people down in Illinois from the Iroquois down in Louisiana getting accused of homosexuality. Okay, so we have, while our people in Atlanta and Louisiana is acting gay because they've been gay. Gayness has always been around, and as you can see, they have written proof that they seen Indians being gay in America. 10 sleeping Indians were scalped by whites in New Hampshire for a bounty. On November 28, 1748, French military forces out of Canada around the time of Jean Baptiste, accompanied by 220 Caughnawaga, Mohawk, and Abenaki Indians, attacked and burned the English settlement of Saratoga. The 101 inhabitants were either killed or taken prisoner. So we see why Great Britain, the Queen of England, attacked the Mohawks now, because the Mohawks was allies with the Canadian Franco connection. Okay, 1756 on April 8th, Governor Robert Morris declared war on the Delaware and Shawnee. I showed you the Shawnee prophet in this video, and we know the Delaware Nanticoke are Moors. And this is the declaration of the Scalp Act, which put a bounty on the scalps of Indian men and women and boys. So we have the Delaware are being recognized as Indians, but the Delaware has already revealed to everyone that they are Moors. Okay. Okay, let's get to the proof. The Ottawa natives in May, Chief Pontiac, warfare against the British west of Niagara, destroying several British forts and conducting a siege against the British at Detroit. Okay, white savages, violence, Paxton Boys. Okay, the Paxton Boys. Let's read the Paxton Boys right quick. We got to get this. So, let's prove that the Indians is our people. The proclamation of 1763 signed by King George III of England prohibits any English settlement west of the Appalachian Mountains and requires those already settled in those regions to return east in an attempt to ease tensions with the Native Americans. An indication of the basic racism inherent in the use of violence by colonial whites can be found in the notorious Paxton Boys. In 1763, this group of frontier thugs did not hesitate to kill dozens of friendly Christian Indians, for they were easier to get at than the hostiles who would put up a fight. The Paxton Boys mostly beat their victims to death, though they did not scruple at using axes. Yet when they marched on Philadelphia to press their claims for more funding and arms for a war against the Indians, they were met by an armed militia, and their forces were melted away. Only some 250 Paxton Boys remained, and they were intellectually outnumbered by Benjamin Franklin, who offered these white savages a face-saving out. The Western insurgents presented a pro-murder petition to the legislature, an amazing exercise in projection that argued that Indians should be killed because they were prone to massacre innocents. The point is that these white rebels contented themselves with a petition and then went home. The legislator ignored their dribble and brief. Then personal violence in colonial America appears to have been reserved for despised races. So racism against the so-called Indians has always been here, and as you can see, the Paxton Boys story is about them killing Negroes. But on this source, it shows that they were killing so-called Indians. Okay, Spanish sharpshooter, highly service. Okay. The United States government Continental Congress, oh, this is the Continental Congress, they recruited 2,000 paid auxiliaries from the Indians to scout for them. 1772, 4/5 of the Araucari died of smallpox. Smallpox wiped out more than half of the Pigeon Blackfeet, 1781. Captain David Williamson and about 90 volunteer militiamen slaughtered 62 adults, 93 children of the Christian Delaware people of Newton, Ohio, in retaliation for raids by other Indians. So, because other Indians raided them, they killed the innocents. First federal treaty enacted with the Delaware Indians. Now let's get to this. Shawnee Territory, I don't want to read that. The Treaty of Greenville. Lewis and Clark Expedition. Okay, I'm going to show that video on them. With Sacagawea. I need that video. I wish I can do that right now. Potawatomi Creek War instigated by Andrew Jackson. Whites cut off their noses, piling 557 of them. They also skinned their body to tan as souvenirs. This was the single largest cession of territory ever made in the Southeast. So from 1813 to 1814, the Creek War instigated by General Andrew Jackson, who sought to end Creek resistance to ceding their lands to the U.S. government. The Creek Nation was defeated and sent on the Trail of Tears. In memory of the war, they cut off their noses and turned their skin into leather pouches. So we have people who will sit up there and say the black slaves' skin was taken as pouches to make purses and, leather, when it was the Indians. It was the indigenous. Black and Creek Indians captured Fort Blount, Florida from Seminoles and used it as a haven for escaped slaves. Okay. Fort Blount, Apalachicola, South Carolina. 1823, Johnson versus McIntosh Supreme Court decision. This case involved the validity of land sold by tribal chiefs to private persons in 1773 and 75. The court held that the Indian tribes had no power to grant lands to anyone other than the federal government. So the federal government caught Indians selling land and they took over everything because land cannot be bought or sold. It can only be inherited. Okay. Creek 1825, Creek Chief William McIntosh signs treaty ceding Creek lands to the U.S. and agrees to vacate by 1826. Other Creeks repudiate the treaty and kill him. Okay. Two U.S. Supreme Court cases in 1831 changed the nature of tribal sovereignty by ruling that Indian tribes were not foreign nations, but rather domestic dependent nations. As such, both cases provided the basis for federal protection of Indian tribes with a federal trust relationship of responsibility. The Black Hawk of the Sauk and Fox tribe agrees to move to Mississippi as well. So, even Illinois people went to Oklahoma and moved west of the Mississippi. Okay. I'm trying to read this proof. I got this one proof that's gonna really open y'all eyes up. That's why I'm reading this. In 5 groups in 1836, 14,000 Creeks were forcibly removed by the U.S. Army from Alabama to Oklahoma. 2/3 of the Blackfeet died of smallpox. They were still killing Blackfeet. Trail of Tears, despite the Supreme Court's ruling in 1831 that the Cherokee had a right to stay on their lands, President Jackson sent federal troops to forcibly remove them. So we have been unlawfully removed. That means we can come back any day because everything they did is not even standing. They are basically scaring us off our lands. 1850, there are 20 million buffaloes on the plains between Montana and Texas. Buffaloes was even in Texas, and they exterminated them to limit the Plains Indians' food supply. Okay. Calling to massacre. Killing the Brule Chief, conquering Bear, Battle of Seattle, 2 interlinks. Okay. Okay, let's read this right here. Let's read this. And then I can go ahead to the ADOS. In September, the Fancher Party, a group of California-bound immigrants from Arkansas and Missouri. Remember the Missouri Compromise? Remember they wanted to put slavery in Missouri? Yeah, that's right. These people wanted to leave that area because they knew what was happening. And according to Brigham Young's edict, the townspeople refused to sell supplies to the group. So they headed south and camped in Mountain Meadows when they arrived in Salt Lake City. Racists, according to Brigham Young's, they didn't want to sell these people supplies. So on September 7th, the Fancher Party suffered a coordinated joint attack by Paiute Indians and Mormon militiamen. Many were killed on both sides before the pioneers could gain a tenable defense position. Then followed 5 days of siege. On September 12th, the Mormons negotiated surrender. The local Mormon leader, John Doyle Lee, and 54 Mormon militiamen approached the Fancher Party and offered to provide safe passage through the territory. The surviving members of the Fancher Party would hand over their livestock to the Paiutes and their guns to the Mormons. In return, the pioneers were granted safe passage from the area. Once the immigrants, we all know an immigrant is somebody leaving one part of a country to another, so they're not illegal immigrants, they are Americans. Once they accepted the Mormon offer and laid down their weapons, the Mormons opened fire on them. The Paiute allies of the Mormons stormed the wagon train and slaughtered the women and all of the older children. When the bloodbath ended, 123 were dead, only 17 young children were left alive. Lee fled the area with his 17 wives in Lee's Ferry, Arizona. In 1877, he had 17 wives. In 1877, Lee was arrested and tried for his part in the massacre. He was convicted and sentenced to die. On March 23rd, Lee was brought to Mountain Meadows, where he sat blindfold on a coffin that was to hold his remains and was executed by a firing squad. He was killed before he killed immigrants from Arkansas and Missouri, and these were so-called Negroes. You can look this story up yourself. They let you know they were black, but according to this source, they are indigenous Americans. I am reading a source on so-called attacks on indigenous Americans, and it is giving you accurate depictions. So that's all I really wanted to read, because you can go look at that Mormon, so-called Mormon massacre. You can go look that up for yourself, and they will proudly tell you those were Negroes. Okay, so you can read all of this. The Nez Perce Treaty And the Nez Perce War was the last actual war in 1877. The Nez Perce War. This is when the last of the wars go down. Around this time. But other stuff's happened. Other instances happen. And I don't have to keep reading. Now let's get to the ADOS. That's in this video. With proof why the ADOS is not getting no money and why they're about to go to jail. Let me show you with proof. Let me show you. Let me show you why. Okay. Juan Garrido. No, we ain't reading from that. We not reading from that. Okay. Okay. Okay, we have African explorers of Spanish America. The African explorers was agents from the Christians, the Christian conquerors, to go in on Andalusia. Andalusians was dispelled from Granada, Spain, and those Africans were sent over here as mercenaries to destroy. Now let's read it. Africans, look, the third paragraph. The second paragraph. Those who voluntarily set out on expeditions and became part of armed auxiliaries were more likely than those in unarmed roles to gain their freedom. So we have people from Africa who were sent over here told that they had better fight and kill or else. Okay. So we have Africans and their descendants were an integral part of the exploration of Spanish America from the 15th through the 18th century. So that's 300 years of African presence. Spanish expeditions within that would become the United States largely covered Florida and the Southwest. These territories were a part of New Spain, an area which also covered Mexico and Central America. The exploration of these lands required people who would not only open up the land, but settle, develop, and secure the land as well. So in Coronado's route, African men and women were part of a number of Spanish expedition. The Panfilo de Narvaez expedition, remember I just read that to you? Of 1528 from Cuba to Florida is one such example. This expedition included Esteban, perhaps the most notable African male to aid in the exploration of North America. So Esteban and Juan Garrido are technically not our people. And when they say the Moors sold you out, that is who they are that is who they are telling you about. But what I am telling you, those are not more Muslim. Let's not say more, let's say Muslim and Christian at this point. Because it is a big difference. Christian Africans came over here as conquistadors and militiamen. And in the 16th century, conquistadors of African and Afro-Hispanic American descent, hereafter referred to as black conquistadors, were as much a part of the exploration of the Americas as their Spanish counterparts. So Africans are just as much as guilty as the so-called Spanish conquistadors. Do you understand what I'm saying? So the blood of the African slaves. Okay. The so-called African slaves, my people. Right? The blood of the so-called African slaves or the African Americans are from the conquistadors, my people. The Creek people of Alabama, Mississippi, and Florida, they captured the Africans. I have written proof. They captured the Africans and enslaved the Africans right along with white Africans. And after the Barbary Treaty, they had been attacking these Muslims for a very long time. Barbary treaties. around this time, it's going down. So we have the Treaty of Tripoli, Treaty of Peace and Friendship between the United States of America and the Bey and subjects of Tripoli of Barbary, signed in 1796, was the first treaty between the United States of America and Tripoli, now Libya. So Libya is not even its name. So we have these peace treaties signed, and once they signed these peace treaties, the slaves in America had to be let go. All slaves had to be let go, or whatever. What else? So the Indians who captured De Soto's expedition did not let those African slaves go. So they had to run up in here. That's what this Creek Trail of Tears is all about. The big agreement was to let all the white and black slaves go from Africa. But the Creek Muskogee people of Alabama and Florida, of the Calusa Indians, they refused. They said, you know what? No. They said, you know what? No. We not letting these slaves go. They came and killed our people. We are keeping them. Okay. So the conquistadors left their blood behind. But what you need to know about the conquistadors is that they raped so many people. They raped and robbed so many people for the aristocrats of Britain, of Great Britain, that they left their blood. So the Creek Trail of Tears people, yes, the Aztecs, the Mayans, all of these people, Mesoamerica, they captured conquistadors and they enslaved these so-called Africans. The warriors of America captured these men. The copper-colored people captured Africans and Europeans, and they did whatever they wanted to do with them because they were invaders. Now, the black slaves, the so-called black slaves, are a particular people, is what I'm saying. Descendants of slaves are African invaders with proof. Africans had a lot to do with the invasion of America. After Andalusia fell, the Africans ran up in here. Let's prove it. King Alfonso. And this is Alfonso the Eighth. He still obtained some of his African blood. You can see he's an African mulatto. That is what a mulatto looks like. Of the Congo. So that Alfonso is akin to the first Congo. Do you understand what I'm saying? This information is going to go right over the head of most of you. And I have no problem with that because you will be penalized in the long run. Alfonso, the first of the Congo, is a conqueror, is a Christian. His people became Christian, and his name is Vimba Nzinga, or Nzinga Mbemba, and was ruler of the kingdom of the Congo in the first half of the 16th century. And his rise to power was around the time of Joel Embiid of the Philadelphia 76ers is akin to this nigga, Joel Embiid. And the Africans know this type of shit, and they still cannot understand why not to this day they cannot conquer us. You know, this African believes he's better than it. You can see the trash he talks. And you can see that the United States ball players and the American ball players know that he's an African. You know, a shit talking African. And he stems from Alfonso the First of the Congo. And as you can see, Alfonso bloodline has trickled all the way to Alfonso the Eighth of Spain. So this is just so-called Spanish. Even Isabella is a mulatto and is the grandmother of Alfonso. You don't know these things. Now you have to adhere to it. There's no way around it. These are Africans. These are nothing but Africans. Great Britain married into India. King George and King Edward were married into India. And these marriages is what allowed them to invade. Right? So we have Alfonso. Right? And we have the truth that you have to deal with this. Now let's go back. I'm going to show you why you don't want to be African. gonna show you why you don't want to be African. Now we have Alfonso of the Congo, right? Now let's read his story. Let me show you why you have African blood and why the African Union is your masters. Alfonso is best known for his vigorous attempt to convert Congo to a Catholic country by establishing the Roman Catholic Church in Congo, providing for its financing from tax revenues and creating schools by 1516. There were over 1,000 students in the Royal School, and other schools were located in the provinces, eventually resulting in the development of a fully literate noble class. So, he was given the bishopric of Utica, was an ancient Phoenician and Carthaginian city in North Africa by the Vatican, but actually served in Congo. So he was supposed to serve up there in the conquered Moorish town, Phoenician town, but the Vatican sent him to the Congo to minister. So he is connected to the Congo. The black is connected to the Vatican. Do you see who the leaders is of these Africans? It's the Vatican, the Roman Church, and the Romans is who is against the Holy Moorish. This is the enemy of the Holy Moorish. Okay, the slave trade. In 1526, Alfonso wrote a series of letters condemning the violent behavior of the Portuguese in his country and the establishment of the transatlantic slave trade. So Alfonso knew about this, and he even wrote letters about it. Okay, so we can see Alfonso bringing in Christianity to the Africans, making them subjects, while you on the internet talking about some Moors and Muslims. Now you have Alfonso, the conqueror, to thank for Christianity, spread it into the Congo, Portugal, which is his country, through marriage. He married them, and they came over here to conquer. That is why they speak Portuguese in Brazil and Belize. And that's why they have the blood of Africans is through rape and conquest. So when you claim African blood, you are claiming conquistador blood, rapist, maniac, thug, criminal blood. You understand? That's why the Africans look down on us, because they knew they were sent over here to kill us as mercenaries. That's right. Africa been lending its soldiers to come over here. Okay. The Hessians were contracted by Great Britain and other mercenaries. So we have mercenaries who we have mercenaries and regiments that actually fought for Great Britain that were black or African or slaves, because the kings of Africa is united with Great Britain. It is no way around it. That is why we have the African Union. African Federal Union. Let's look it up. African. Hold on, man. African Democratic Federal Government. Okay. African Democratic Congress is a political party in Nigeria. That is not what I'm looking for. Let's say African Union. African Union. This is nothing but slavery. And you can't even see it. It is located in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. And it is a continental union, with exception of various territories of European possessions located in Africa, and was founded in May 2001. And this is the Federal Democratic Ethiopian government that leads the African Union. And as you can see, So we have the Africans who been in on running in. And when you say you have African blood, you was not fighting like these people. These are the people who was getting robbed over here and getting their information taken. So you are not the descendants of slaves. You are prisoners of war. You are POWs getting ran in on. So let's go ahead and show you. Let's go ahead and move in. Okay. Let's see. I hope it pop up. Okay. Confederate States Army and Civil War. Let me see if I can get those pictures of the Civil War flags. Mechanicsville. Okay. Now let's look at this. This is in Georgia and Virginia area, and we have the mechanics, and we have the Confederacies was several territories in the South that united to be the Confederation, and these people were the mechanics. They were the people who were responsible for heavy machinery, and similar to the Union. The union workers, and you had the people down here doing that type of work, and they were getting paid unfairly and treated unfairly, so they split from the Union and formed their own so-called nation. The Seven Pines, Mechanicsville, Coal Harbor, Frazier's Farm of Manassas. Remember, I just showed you Manassas coming over here as the Mashir. Didn't I just show you that? Let me show you who they are fighting. They are fighting the Phoenician Moors. Let's look it up. I just seen that information. That mean I'm moving so fast. Oh my God. Moving too fast for my own good. Now, as you can see, Mashir was the firstborn son of Manasseh, son of Joseph. So this is some real time information. And we have also the Manassas right here in Mechanicsville. These people knew how to make trains. They knew how to repair trains and other, motor vehicles and boats. They knew how to repair them and build them. And these were the mechanics who was about to go to war. Just like the gangster disciples in the Union of Jimmy Hoffa. They people are going to war. The farmer class and the so-called mechanics are going to war in the Civil War. And they united in 1861 to 1865 for their freedom. And they hired colored regiments and other Indians to fight against these people. You understand what I'm saying? They is lying to you. They all out lying. And the Civil War proves without a doubt there was no slavery in the South. It is not about slavery. It is a lie. It is nothing but propaganda. They are lying to you. These mechanics and farmers united. We know who the farmer class was, the sharecroppers. The mechanics was the brothers who knew how to do things like build cars. So they are lying. These is nothing but indigenous Americans. It is a big lie. Now let's look at the time period to prove that they wasn't in America. Burning of Washington, 1812. Okay, so we have the burning of Washington, D.C. in 1812, right? We see this. We see the Creek and the Yamasee is fighting at this time. This is 1812. Now let's look up the Louisiana Purchase, which is the warrior purchase. Because Luis means warrior. The Louisiana Purchase. So the Louisiana Purchase was in 1804. And King George III wrote a statement telling the Paxton boys and other races to not enter to this territory because they didn't want to interrupt their money. So the Louisiana Purchase was made in 1804. Nobody could come past the Mississippi River. That is why they made them go to past the Mississippi River, because they hadn't even been past the Mississippi River yet. You go past the Mississippi and we keep this in, and it'll be peace. That was the promise of the U.S. government, and it turns out to be a lie. It turned out to be a lie. The treaty between the United States of America and the French Republic. Right? The French Republic. The Franco. So we have 1812, 1804. No slaves was in Creek, Muskogee. Let's say Trail of Tears. Trail of Tears dates. So nearly a fourth of the Cherokee population died. It ended around 1839. They kept marching people up out of here, right? So if we look at slavery, supposed to started in 1500, 1600, 1700, according to the descendants of slaves, what we are saying is there was no slaves. Let's look it up. Creek territory. Let's do images. Okay. So let's look at the creek on the Mississippi, right? Let's look at this. We can see the creek. Okay. Moon goddess Naravarisi. I don't want to read all that. Okay, Creek Nation, Cherokee Outlet, Cherokee Nation, Choctaw. Let me get up here. I want to see. I want to get to this information. Alright, here you go. We have Creek last sessions, 1733. That's 100 years of taking these people's land. So if we look at 1733, they had been taking land little by little from up in Carolina all the way down to Florida, all the way to Mississippi. So this is all Creek land right here. In 1812 and 1826, John McIntosh illegally sold some of the Creek land. Let's look up John McIntosh. John McIntosh. All this history is celebrated where I live right now today. Sold Creek land. William McIntosh. Okay. William McIntosh in 1825, McIntosh, without Creek consent, negotiated the Treaty of Indian Springs that sold almost all Creek lands in Georgia and personally profited McIntosh only. And he was killed by everyone. So he illegally sold Creek lands. And what I'm saying is, people are saying they were slaves here. They were so enslaved by the millions. But what I'm saying is, it was no slavery here. It is a lie. It is only the descendants of the Trail of Tears. If you look at this territory from the meridian of the Mason-Dixie line of the North and the South, all of this land was no slaves, and white people could barely even get here or in Missouri. They couldn't even get into Missouri. They started chasing us out of Missouri in like the 1870s. Just like they finally got up in Chicago to start assaulting us because we was too deep in Chicago. So as you can see right here, Seminole territory, Choctaw territory was no African slaves unless they were the conquistadors. If it was any African slave, it was the conquistadors who tried to come over here and wipe our people out, and we captured them. We bust the Africans' head, we bust Great Britain's head, and kicked Great Britain up out of America. That's right. We kicked them up out of America, and just like the Mohawk, we suffered a similar fate. We suffered a similar fate as the Mohawk for banging up the Great Britain in their attempts to destroy us. That's right. So, ADOS movement is exposed because in order to be an African descendant of slave, you would have to be an African conquistador who was captured by Creek Indians. That's right. And other East Coast so-called indigenous people captured Africans too. That's right. So when forces came for these Africans, they destroyed us all the way out because some of these Africans were wealthy Africans over there and Europeans. So they removed the people. They removed the people up out of Georgia and moved them where they was going to move them. and did to him what they was gonna do to him. Now they got us getting called African. Third brother to the right look like a little Martin Luther King to me. They got our people getting called African. You got our people getting slaughtered. You know, I done already proved it. You know, and this video was over with. I proved what I had to prove about your man's, what's his name? Everybody Hates Angel. I showed you that the Brazilians are not African slaves, and they had been in Brazil way before the European colonists got there. I showed you written proof of so-called Negroes in America. It's indigenous people. I showed you pictorial evidence. I showed you the massacre of Fort Mims. I showed you what they look like. And as you can see behind the European with the white woman in his hand, the brother with the mouth looking like you and I's mouth. And as you can see, the other indigenous whacking up the European, showing you that we were not descendants of slaves. And as you can see, the brother is a mascot for the Cleveland Indians. This is not a coincidence. There is no coincidence. There is no accident that the Brazilians dress the way they dress and celebrate Mardi Gras and Carnival. So we have the proof, and this video can end because it can always be a part 2. And I'm thankful you sat through all this information, because the takeout list is Everybody Hates Angel, Pan-Africans, Black Afro, anything. Anybody that represent that nonsense, we coming for them. Anybody that deny the indigenous rights movement, the Aboriginals ain't African movement, or any Moorish American movement. If anybody is speaking out or trying to discredit any Aborigine or indigenous or Moorish, that is what I'm here for. You will be destroyed. You will be taken down with the truth. The truth will whack you. You know the truth is going to whack you down. You know what I mean. Negro, blacks, and colors, and $5 Indians. You know exactly what I'm talking about. The truth is going to shine on you. And you know how you feel about the truth. You know how you feel about the truth. So, let's end this video. Let's end this video. The Louisiana Purchase, 1803. Right? Apalachicola, Florida. We have black conquistadors. We have mosquito people looking like you and I, that look like Georgia people that was in Carolina. And we have the sciences that keeps up with the African conquistador blood. Let's look at it. Okay, we have the genetic legacy of the conquistadors gene expression. So scientists are able to trace everyone who have the genetics of the conquistadors. Just like they know who a Canaanite is, or a Mizraim, or a Ham is to this day. They know exactly how to trace all those bloodlines. The scientists can trace the African blood that was dispersed unto the people. That's right. They know exactly who the conquistadors is. So if you have any African blood that they claim to be African slaves, it is conquistador Christian blood. And if you got that Nigerian ass blood, you are an enemy of America. Or you need to admit it, like, look, my people was raped, but I ain't with that African shit. That's right, denounce that African shit. That's right. It is a criminal organization sent in here to conquer the Aymara at the bottom, which is blue, Kushua, which is Native American, Maya, which is Native American, and Nahuel. And as you can see, the red is Latino and Caribbean mix. So I can prove to you that Aymara and Kushua is our people as well in South America. I've already proved that in previous videos. I showed you the mosquito. I showed you that before 1802, there was no so-called white people running nothing in Louisiana and Spanish territory, which is the Sierra Nevada. Sierra Nevada, which is Andalusia. I already proved that to you. And if you need any more proof, that is on you. That means you are retarded. That is on you, because you can't trick us. That's what this is all about. You not tricking us. And as you can see, and as you can realize, that Indians and Negroes are the same people. That is Scottie Pippen and Yellow Horse. So I don't drop too much information today. I don't have to go no more. Your local legend is a liar. Everybody Hates Angel was a liar, possible agent, just like Jabari Osazi and Sarah Sutin Seti. Yep, that's right. That is correct. That is correct. That is correct, and it is over with. It is a wrap. And I'll holler. I definitely will holler for the next video, because the next videos is going to be crushing white supremacists. But as I go down the list of destroying their agents, I want to cripple all of the agents before I get to white supremacy. And as you can see, I got the PayPal, Chicago Nation. And as you can see, the agents that are hiding the Moorish ancestry and the Islamic culture in America is under attack as well. Yeah, that's right, agents. You under attack. You're attacking us with your propaganda. We're going to attack you. We're going to use law reversalism against you to prove that the people of America are not African slaves. That is a lie. We can prove that the Muslims was here. We can prove why Chicago was under attack. And we can show you why Chicago Folks and People Nation is the source for warriors, prophets, and truth tellers. That's right. Chicago is the place where the people tell the truth, and they will bring you to justice for telling a lie. That is right. Your time is up. African Americans ain't African. Aboriginal Americans aren't Africans. And Moorish Americans are the progenitors and torchbearers of civilization right here in America and Asia abroad. Please like, share, and subscribe my videos and donate if you can, and the videos will be coming back. And we'll be coming back to touch up on this Everybody Hates Angel character and the black CIA possible agents that is causing propaganda legally according to the Mund Act. I am also addressing the ADOS movement who claims to be getting reparations, but African mercenaries will not be coming here to kill our people and getting reparations, ADOS. That will not be happening. African mercenaries raped our people. That is why we have their blood, because Africans are rapist conquistadors. And I also proved the complexion of the Brazilians and the indigenous Americans is brown, and they did not get put over here because of slavery. I proved all 3 points in this video. It cannot be refuted. It will not be refuted, or questions only by agents and trolls will. It get questions, but people with common sense and mother wit know it's the truth. No, it cannot be refuted or debunked. Therefore, it is solidified and put in the archives of truth that we will be using as evidence against white supremacy for the case of reparations. That's right. We will be making a case for reparation, but we will be using the truth from the sources that we need that will eradicate white supremacy and their cronies hiding our civilization and our birthright. And once again, I leave you with peace just like I greeted you, and I will be doing a video. I will be touching up on a video sometime soon in the next few days, and I will be addressing white supremacy, and that is something to be afraid of, because white supremacy does not like the truth. When you shine the truth on white supremacy, it's just like when you shine the sunlight on them, they turn red. When you tell the truth to Europeans, they turn red. So this is going to make a lot of people suffer, the truth that I'm about to administer. So please stay tuned for my white supremacist exposure video. I will be exposing them once and for all, as I do their agents that they employ to use propaganda and brainwash, mind engineer, control tactics on the masses. So I'm on top of it, and now you on top of it. Thank you for watching, liking, and subscribing, and I will holler at you very, very soon. Peace out.